If you are just a person who hates budgets, use this hack as an easy button. When I give this for homework to a coaching client, it always gets done. Do you ever feel like you just don't have enough money to make ends meet? Have you ever had to choose between something you feel like is a potential emergency or just an urgent matter? Well, if you have, this video is for you. Hi, I'm Michelle, and today we are diving head first into the world of financial wellness. We are going to talk about budgeting and emergency funds. I know. Budgeting can feel like a yo-yo diet. You try to stick to it, but it feels so restrictive that you end up abandoning it and splurging on who knows what. Now, not having enough money to make ends meet is a national epidemic. Brace yourself for some eye-popping statistics. Did you know that a whopping 63% of Americans can't afford a $500 emergency? If you were to lose your job, it takes 3 to 6 months these days to get a new one. Couple that fact with the statistic that 77% of Americans don't have 6 months of savings. For most of us, any job loss would devastate our lives. Crazy, right? So if you're currently riding the financial struggle bus, like most of us, you are not alone. In fact, a staggering 60% of people admit to feeling pretty darn uncomfortable about how low their emergency savings are. And to make things even spicier, only 48% of Americans have enough savings to cover even 3 months of an emergency. A jaw-dropping 26% of us don't have any savings at all. Y'all, today we've stripped budgeting down to the studs, the bare bones, and created the simplest budgeting exercise we've ever seen. Now, if you are one of those rare unicorns, the 23% of us with 6 months of emergency savings in the bank, hand clap for you, because you may not need this video. But think about all those friends, family members, or even your kids who could benefit from your sharing this wisdom. If you don't just click with estimating your future hypothetical spending, if things like sinking funds just don't feel real, if you find it a chore to track your spending day in and day out, if budgets don't work for you, then try this unique way to grow and manage your money. This method simplifies the upfront work of money management and takes just 1 minute to start. Finally, a solution for those of us who don't do budgets. Hopefully this will help some of the 77% of us without a fully funded emergency fund to finally save for one. If you are a person who has tried unsuccessfully to budget, then this is a financial wellness plan for you. It takes the pressure off of tracking your finances. We've made setting up a budget an act of easy financial self-care. You don't have the hurdles of estimating all your monthly or annual expenses. You don't have to set up a complicated spreadsheet. You only need to know one number to get started: how much money you make. So gather your pay stubs or log in to check your direct deposit. Let's begin. If you want to learn how to generate a budget just by entering one number, pay close attention to this section. Open the worksheet and go to the 1 minute budget tab. At the top, you will see a spot to enter your monthly take-home pay. This is your net pay, the amount that is actually deposited into your account or paid to you in cash after taxes and other deductions. I love a good budget video, but I know some people's eyes glaze over as soon as they see a big worksheet with lots of rows and columns. But our sheet is simple: a few boxes, simple calculations, and a spot to track your progress. Standard budgeting doesn't work for everyone. Step 1 of this 2-step method is the most streamlined planning you can do. Enter your take-home pay in that top spot on the right. Everything auto-calculates instantly except for the amount of money you actually save each month. The calculations in use are on the screen, but don't worry about the math. I'll put a link in the description box for where you can get the spreadsheet in my shop. This is part of the 1 minute self-care series, where we've created tools for the busiest of us with no more than a minute to spare. There is a free self-check-in quiz linked in the description. Check out the shop for other 1 minute tools for your physical, community, career, and self-care too. Step 2 is filling in your actual savings. You will take a minute at the end of every month or the beginning of the next month to fill that number in. The number is the amount your savings has increased to. That's it. The whole method is step 1, enter your take-home pay, and step 2, track your savings progress. If you're finding this content interesting, please like, comment, and consider subscribing. It really helps the video to be shown in the YouTube search results to other people it could help. Don't worry, we'll take more than a minute to explain why this budget hack works. We'll work through several examples of actual budget numbers from popular YouTubers Rachel Cruze, Christina Mychas, and debt-free millennials. This budget method is based on the 50-30-20 rule. Amelia Warren Tyga and Senator Elizabeth Warren introduced this plan in their 2005 book, All Your Worth, The Ultimate Life Money Plan. So this budgeting plan is fairly new, having just been published in 2005. It is based on an ideal budget where you spend 50% or less of your take-home pay on your needs, the necessities that are necessary to survive. This is the roof over your head, food, and medications, things you literally can't live without. 30% or less of your budget is for your wants, optional items that make life easier or better. That's clothes, eating out with friends, or a haircut. The last 20% is for your savings. To start with, your savings goal is your emergency fund. Remember, we are trying to get you into the elite club of the 23% of people with 6 months of savings. Now, once you've saved enough for that, you can move on to other goals like paying down debt, building a college fund, or saving for a vacation. I watch easily 100 budgeting videos to bring you real income numbers from people who share their budgets publicly. I prefer using information already in the public domain rather than asking any of my clients if I could share their info in an anonymous way. On the Rachel Cruze show, she budgets for a couple that are students in her Financial Peace University class who make $7,248.38 a month. If you want to find the video on YouTube, it's titled How I Would Budget $7,000 a Month. This couple is older and has paid off their house and already put their kids through college. Rachel Cruze is Dave Ramsey's daughter, and she, like her father, focuses on the Dave Ramsey method of maximum savings for debt payoff. He spends about 15 minutes making this budget. Realistically, it takes longer than that for the average person, but she would have spent time before filming, figuring out how to break this budget down. We, of course, are going to spend only 1 minute making our 50-30-20 rule version. Rachel's budget proposes her clients spend $2,818 on their needs, which is 39% of their income. For their wants, she lays out spending $478, which is 7%. That leaves a whopping $3,951, or 54% of their income for savings and to pay down debt. That budget is so strict that it makes living by the 50-30-20 rule seem like living in luxury. With our budget, you plan for $3,624 in needs. That's $800 more than in Rachel's budget. $2,174 for your wants, which is almost $1,700 more than Rachel's. And $1,449 for savings, which is less than half what you would save following Rachel's plan. This goes to show that you can start with a lighter weight budget like the 50-30-20, and when you get ready, move into Dave Ramsey or Rachel Cruze's style method of stricter budgeting as you get comfortable with tracking your money more tightly. Next, Christina Mychas shares her zero-based budgeting method in her video called Budget with Me, how to budget and save at any income. She earns 4,700 Canadian dollars a month. She also includes the $900 for rent and $53 for water that she receives from the partner she lives with as income in her calculation. Since those expenses are paid from her account, she budgets $2,591 for her needs, which is 46% of her income. For her wants, she lays out spending of $462, which is 8% of her income. This leaves $2,600, which is the remaining 46% of her income. A similarity between the two examples is how each has cut down on their wants to under 10% of their income. This really ramps up their savings. If you start with a 30% wants goal and are able to reduce that spending, you can supercharge the rate you save at too. Debt-free Millennials is the final channel I wanted to highlight. This budget is for $2,000 per month in the video, and that video was called How to Budget with a Low Income, Budget with Me. When she first graduated from college, she earned $2,000 per month and lived in Kansas City. She spent $1,189 per month, or 59% of her income on her needs, which included $378 for an apartment she shared with a roommate. Now, this is very typical as you grow your income, that your needs use a higher percentage of your income at first. Also, she included minimum student loan payments and paying back family members as part of her needs calculation. 26% of her income at $518 was for her wants. $250 of that was what she called blow money, because she could blow or spend that $250 on whatever she wanted. That left her $293, which is 15% for savings. That is a very healthy savings, especially when you take into account many people on a lower income aren't able to save anything or even are in the negative every month. Now that you have the 3 examples, let's take a closer look at the guidelines the 50, 30, 20 budget gives you to spend your money. Here you can see what 50% of your take-home pay looks like. Is that enough to cover your mortgage or rent, your student loan payments, etc.? If not, can cuts be made on how much your necessities cost? Can you move to a less expensive home? If you are spending more than 30% of your take-home pay on rent, then you are what is called rent burden. In cities like New York or San Francisco, people are often rent burdened. To counteract that, many residents of those cities forego cars or other things that people in other areas see as a necessity. If you consider your car a necessity, look at the cost of public transportation or ride-share services like Lyft and Uber. You may spend less on that than on your car note, gas, car repairs, and insurance. Check out my other videos with bite-sized trainings on how to analyze your spending and get your financial life back on track. I know when you're in a vicious cycle of spending all or more money than you make, it's tough to break free. Let's support each other on this journey. We buy emotionally, but we can learn to spend rationally. I believe in meeting people where they are, and then we rise together. If you are one of my friends who doesn't do budgets, don't let that stop you from knowing and achieving your financial goals. We started this chat with the statistic that most Americans aren't prepared for a $500 emergency. The sooner you or someone you love adopts a habit of saving money as a priority, the sooner they are setting themselves up for a lifetime of financial independence, where living within your means feels natural rather than limiting.